I remember what I do.
Don't worry,
Why did you do
I'll be
that?
shocked with everything.
I'm sure you will. Why did you do that, Sos? Well, at that time, I thought that was the right move. Was I mistaken?
Alright.
I asked everybody too, so everybody is okay with me airing this stuff. Prior.
I mean, you only beat one person. That's
right.
the only person you have to ask.
Really, I know, and dude, it's so bad. Oh my god, I get tilted. You'll see when I get tilted. You'll be like, right here. I'll be like, yeah. It was so upsetting. I'm not really happy with remotes, man. You get really amped up, and the first guy I get quits. So I don't even get to get into the first round matchup and keep my energy going. Like I have to sit here and refresh and wait, and all of that positive amped up energy just gets fucking I just waste it. Anyways, whatever. I don't like remotes. They're not my favorite thing.
Alright.
We have to deal though. I'm really loud.
I'll just retweet yours. No, I turned you down a little.
Okay.
So you should be fine. Alright. Okay. Let's double check your movesets. Ferrothorn, Power Whip, Thunder, or is it Flash Cannon?
Nope, Thunder it is.
Driftbloom, straightforward.
200. It's a ranked 200 Ferrothorn.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I'm just like, oh, okay. I was just letting you know my IVs, in PvP rankings, my IVs, it's top ranked Ferrothorn. You know what I'm saying?
Let's see.
Right.
Mantine, Bubble Beam, Ice Beam. You shouldn't be running anything else other than that. Pelipper shouldn't be running anything other than that as well. So yeah, that is the team.
Nothing special. Real generic.
Back when I first did the recap, I pretty much told everyone Galarian Stunfisk paired with Mantine gives you an A in rating automatically. You can pair Galarian Stunfisk with almost anything and still get an A, but pairing Galarian Stunfisk with Mantine instantly gives you a perfect rating already. So that's why Galarian Stunfisk is OP. A comparison that I made was if you use Galarian Stunfisk versus using Steelix in place of it, you will get a C rating after pairing it with Mantine. So that's that goes to show how powerful Galarian Stunfisk is, even with the same typing and the same bulk. Having Mudshot and having Rock Slide is absolutely OP for all the flying types that are allowed to be used in this cup. Because if you remember Sinister back in the day, Drifblim was actually able to get really close against Steelix. The same thing applies for Stunfisk. As long as you debuff Galarian Stunfisk and then you Shadow Ball, you can still win that matchup. But back then, Drifblim without Icy Wind was able to win Steelix. So that's the kind of the gap between Galarian Stunfisk and Steelix. So for anybody who's building a team, they should, if they have Galarian Stunfisk, make your life easy. Just bring a Galarian Stunfisk. Otherwise, you're gonna have to substitute a lot of Pokemon just to fill the roles that Galarian Stunfisk can do.
Yeah.
What's up, Gundam? Welcome to the SosaFlo roast.
Dude, I'm so excited for it. Welcome, Gundam.
So the Metascore card looks pretty good. You have an even amount of purple and blue, which is what you want. You don't want blues across the board on any single Pokemon. That means you have Giant Hole on your team. The closest one is Mantine. Everybody's going to have issues with Mantine because it is a bait and nuke Pokemon. So that's going to be guaranteed. So potential threats, very first thing I see, Zapdos. Ferrothorn used to be okay before Zapdos got the Drill Peck buff. But now the Drill Peck buff makes a 5 energy less, which means getting to 2 costs 10 less energy, getting to 3 costs 15 less energy, which is like 2 fast attacks. And then Drift Blim, if you can land an Icy Wind, makes a lot of sense, super effective. We'll probably be able to nuke something like Zapdos. Mantine if you land an Icy Beam. So there's a lot of play. So you don't have to entirely rely on the Galarian Stunfisk. Vigoroth, you can land 2 Body Slams, but it's, you know, what do you call it? IV dependent, energy dependent, and shield dependent as well. So a lot of things go into this Zapdos matchup. So whenever I do build a team or look at weaknesses in my team, don't look at the blues and purples or like the circles and X's at face value. Pelipper double weak to whatchamacallit, electric, that's a hard loss. Same thing with Mantine. So that's one of the first things I see. You're kind of doubling up on the water flying. So you have to be very careful not to bring both in situations where you're kind of forced to switch out of a lead or something like that. Otherwise you have a Pokemon, 2 Pokemon weaks to the same things in the back, whether that's a grass type or whether that's an electric type.
Only time I was gonna bring out the double boys if I saw like a Galarian Stunfisk and they had a Alolan Marowak and like a Blaziken in the back or something like that, where I can use Pelipper as like the flying to use it as the wing attack for the super effective build up for the weather balls and shoot it off and stuff like that. But was never gonna bring it. The Pelipper and Mantine were interchangeable. I used them as the kind of like the same kind of thing, build up for the big shot, bait, kind of get a shield. Only of course Mantine, being the beast that it is, has better play. But I liked Pelipper because it threw people off. The only problem was you guys will see. You guys will see.
So Pelipper, because I've played a lot of Pelipper in GBO, Pelipper is actually very, very bait dependent on all of the 0 and 1 shields. I mean, in all of the 0 and the 1 shields, it wins a lot of 2s just because it chips down with the wing attack. But the issue is you have to force your opponent to get into 2 shields first. So you have to be able to bait. So if you bait with Weather Ball and you don't get Hurricane on a grass type, for example, then you lose. And Mantine kind of has the same thing because Bubble Beam is such a bad attack. So for reference, I talk about some Prinplup is actually a very good example. You get Stab from the Bubble Beam, no Stab from Icy Wind. Let's throw it at an Azumarill. Oh, actually, no, let's throw it at Vigoroth. Something that takes neutral damage. Yeah. Actually, what's something that resists ice but not water? An ice type. Let's say Frostlass, for example. Resists ice but not water. So Bubble Beam has Stab and is neutral. You would think Bubble Beam has more DPE, right?
I'm sorry, one more time. If Bubble Beam has Stab and is neutral?
Yep. While Icy Wind is resisted. You would think that Icy Wind would be the worst move.
Right. I would probably go Bubble Beam, right?
Yeah. You look at the DPE, 0.55. You look at Icy Wind, 0.6.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Icy Wind does more damage. That's how bad Bubble Beam is. So that's why a lot of times, if you're actually not, if you're throwing straight Bubble Beams at things with Mantine, you're probably gonna lose. Bubble Beam is just terrible. The only thing it's good for is just debuffing. The only reason why it's decent in this cup is because Galarian Stunfisk you can beat a Galarian Stunfisk by going straight Bubble Beam because you are getting the bubble damage and the Bubble Beam damage, which is super effective. Okay. So if you were using something like Wing Attack with Mantine, you wouldn't be able to get any of these wins. But Mantine is actually a much more consistent Galarian Stunfisk counter than Pelipper is, because Pelipper, like I said, that wing attack damage is resisted. You're relying completely on the weather balls for super effective damage. And the other thing is, if Galarian Stunfisk has one fast attack ahead, no, that doesn't matter. If Galarian Stunfisk has one attack ahead, so if I add one Mud Shot onto the Galarian Stunfisk, it wins because all of its wins for Pelipper is actually CMP. So you look at this, the CMP tie. You look at the 0 shield, the CMP tie again. You look at the 2 shields, the CMP tie again. So 45 energy rock slide is there. So Pelipper is not actually really a Mantine substitute, and it does better against what do you call it? Grass types. It does better against, like you said, the fire types, some of the fire types, but it's not really the same as Mantine. So in more cases, you would actually just want to rely on Mantine. And you said you wouldn't bring both together, and that kind of defeats the purpose of having both. There's going to be a lot of teams that doesn't have Zapdos or Emolga, and that's what you should be capitalizing on. As for the rest of this weakness chart, these other things you don't have to worry too much about. You've got 2 counters, and then you have a close matchup with Ferrothorn, a close matchup with Drifblim, or energy dependent, and then a close matchup with Mantine, depending on baits. Pelipper can actually win a Bomb of Snow, depending on the shields and the IVs as well. Same thing with Articuno. You're able to beat that with Vigoroth, depending on the shields, depending on baits. So everything underneath Zapdos is manageable.
What about that Skarmory? Just a little foreshadowing on that Skarmory. A look-see on that Skarmory.
So I know my matchups because I've done so much studying. I know Ferrothorn cannot win, even with a Thunder. I know Drifblim can only win if you bait and Shadow Ball, or you 2-shield Icy Wind.
Yeah, because I hadn't much practice with Skarmory, and like all I saw was Skarmories, and I was like, oh, this is where I get to learn about Skarmory today.
You should have learned Skarmory way ages ago.
No one was practicing against me with Skarmory. I was like, guys, battles are like, yeah, people are just throwing out Mantines and Abomasnows.
And then Vigoroth can win Skarmory into 2 shields. Vigoroth can win almost anything into 2 shields, actually, which is actually kind of insane. Because counter Body Slam is just that powerful, but it's by CMP, as you can see at the very end.
Okay.
So there are plenty of ways to kind of respond to Skarmory. So it's not something I personally would be worried about, but it's something that you definitely need to know how to play against.
Cool. It's coach learn and practice against.
For those who are watching, we have 6 rounds today. Actually 5 rounds, because in the 6-round tournament, the first opponent bailed out or did not respond. So SosaFlo got a bye, and we will be looking at rounds number 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh god.
6. So we're gonna start looking at this very, I guess, second opponent. Looking at your teams, Mantine, Skarmory. So they're running the regular double flyer, Vigoroth, Abomasnow, Galarian Stunfisk, very standard, and then a fire type, which is actually gives you a little bit of problems because you are running Ferrothorn, and Drifblim is semi-bait dependent. But like you said, the first thing you should, the one thing you should be focusing on in Sunrise Cup is actually all the flying types. So Galarian Stunfisk is your best counter to Skarmory, and you kind of don't really have a great Mantine counter other than the Mirror Match and the Ferrothorn with the Thunder. You can go straight Thunder, and you can win that match. And you can win that matchup. So pairing Galarian Stunfisk with one of these two is probably your best course of action. Think of what type of duo with Galarian Stunfisk might be weak to other things. For example, if you pair Galarian Stunfisk with Ferrothorn, then you're going to be weak to Vigoroth. If you pair Galarian Stunfisk with Mantine, you could be semi-weak to a Bomb of Snow. So those are things to think about. But that's how you should. That's not exactly how I would tell people to kind of go into Silph battles and analyze teams, but in Sunrise Cup in particular, that is the way to approach teams. Always focus on the flyers, because the flyers are the most dominant thing in the entire meta. Only Galarian Stunfisk is capable of actually beating all flyers, with the exception of Mantine. So start thinking of substitutes. So essentially, all fire is going to be a problem for every team if you're not using Galarian Stunfisk. So always think about what other contingency plans you have for flying types, and that's how I would approach the Sunrise Cup. Okay. So let's hop into the very first battle. See if I can speed this up a little.
So this is lineup that I pick in is actually like a game plan I have. I wanted to go into this tournament thinking of a game plan of a lineup using the Flying Water, a Steel Ground Grass type, and then Vigoroth or Drifbloom in the back, depending on how dependent they were on the Galarian Stunfisk or the Vigoroth play, or how like how much I could do for who could really step up for on the team, depending and swapping them out. So that was the thought there with the team lineup.
So Pelipper against Mantine. This one is bait dependent. Like I said, Mantine is very bait dependent with that Bubble Beam, Ice Beam. Same thing with Pelipper with the Weather Ball and Hurricane. So you have one neutral attack and one resisted attack on both sides. So this is really going to depend on how you shield and what they shield as well. So far this matchup definitely not in your favor. I recommend not shielding this because your entire Pokemon's essentially useless at this point. If you've taken an Ice Beam, you're not going to get to 2 more Hurricanes before he gets to 2 more attacks. So this is one thing that a lot of players do, is instead of cutting their losses, they try to go for the high risk, high reward play. And that double, double Weather Ball definitely put you even further behind. Now that you're not only behind in energy, you're behind on HP and Pokemon, and now your Galarian Stunfisk is essentially dead. Stunfisk, and your shield's down, but you have energy lead. So this is what you should have done in that Pelipper Mantine matchup, because you know you're not going to be given the opportunity to essentially get to a Rock Slide and an Earthquake the same way you would not be able to get to another Weather Ball and a Hurricane against a Mantine. Just go straight for the attack. Just go straight for the nuke. Take whatever losses you can, go for the play that essentially guarantees at least some advantage, whether that's pulling the second shield with the Hurricane or getting away with chip damage.
Good.
So in this particular scenario, you are behind on HP, you don't have switch advantage. The best thing you can do is actually farm down really hard here. And if you would have had you would have taken a charge move, but you would have had 2 body slams ready. It's very dependent on what they have in the back, but if he's smart, he's gonna go for. He's actually going to be able to get up to 2 charge moves before you, because you threw your energy right away. So that's a mistake on his part. He definitely could have gotten to 2 weather balls. Body Slam and Weather Ball is essentially identical. Both 35 energy, both, I believe, 55 damage, or 60 damage? Or 65, something like that. They're the same attack, except Powder Snow is generates energy faster. Powder Snow is a 4 energy per turn move, counters a 3.5 energy per turn move. So he should have won that, is the first thing I noticed. But as I was talking about earlier, so what you did back here is, one thing that's very important is know how much damage you do. Mantine is a tank. Pelipper is not glassy, so it's not like a blast burn. It's not like a stone edge. You're not dealing super effective or a crazy hard hitting charge move. Hurricane is just an average move. So even if you did get to a hurricane here, Mantine would live. So that's the first thing you should notice. The second thing you should notice is, because it's going to survive, it means you're going to need more than a hurricane. If you're going to need more than a hurricane, then what that means is you're going to have to get to a hurricane and a weather ball. Or hurricane, 2 shield, and try to wing attack down. So what that tells you is you're almost in a losing position no matter what you do. Let the Pelipper go. Take your losses. Otherwise, go for the high risk, high reward play. Now that you're baiting,
Yeah.
they're doing the same thing. They're like, okay, my opponent, I already have a HP advantage. I have a shield advantage. I know I would survive a hurricane, so I'm not going to bother. And that's exactly what they do. They go for the safe play. They go for the guaranteed play. Now that you threw a weather ball, they know the second one's a weather ball. They definitely don't have to shield. And bubbles are resisted on your side, right?
Yeah.
Pelipper resists water. Mantine takes neutral damage from wing attack. So at this point, you're both at the same HP. You could have double shielded and wing attack down. So that was your third play. So your first play was to let your Pelipper go. Don't shield it. Just let it go. Take your losses. The second one is to go for the guaranteed play. You either guaranteed get a shield or you guaranteed get a switch advantage. Because you're already in a losing position, right? Don't make high risk, high reward plays when you're playing from behind. The third thing is, don't switch into a position where you can't even farm down. If you swapped into Vigoroth, you would be able to farm down because counter is an OP move. But you're throwing double resisted mud shots that deal no damage to begin with. You're going to take... There's no way in hell you're going to farm this thing down. Which means you have to get to 2 rock slides. Because if he shields, then you're going to have to get to 2 rock slides, and you're going to be dead by that point. Because mud shots do nothing. So this is the essentially the big errors you've made in this particular match. It's between Pelipper and Mantine.
Oh, you're saying if it's a loss, either if you're gonna commit to the shield, commit to 2 shields, or let it die.
Yeah, because if you lost switch advantage, then what's the point of losing your shields alongside switch advantage? If you lost HP, I mean, if you use up your shields, if you use up 1 shield, you might as well use up the second one if there's a chance you actually get the switch advantage. So going in between really puts you in this very awkward situation. Not now that you're behind on energy, you're behind on shields, you're behind on HP, you're behind on an entire Pokemon now.
Okay.
One thing you have to note is in this cup, because Galarian Stunfisk is a big player in this cup, what ends up happening is your mirror matches are always going to come down to whoever baits or whoever doesn't have a shield. And in this case, you don't have a shield, he has a shield, he doesn't even have to bait, he's going to Earthquake you, your Galarian Stunfisk is dead. So, if Galarian Stunfisk has not been shown, Galarian Stunfisk is always going to be there in the back, and it's always going to need a shield. So there's going to be a lot of times where just giving up switch advantage but keeping shield advantage would be more beneficial. So round number 2. Game number 2. So the very first thing right after the first match, take a look at what Pokemon they had. They brought Mantine, they brought Galarian Stunfisk, they brought a Bombsnow. Is there a hole in that team? The first thing I see is Vigoroth does actually pretty decent against all of that. Galarian Stunfisk does okay against the mirror match in a Bombsnow. It's a little shield dependent, it's a little bait dependent on the side of a Bombsnow. If they go Energy Ball and you don't shield, then you lose that. So Galarian Stunfisk may not be the best option because they're not bringing Skarmory. You have a choice on banking on the fact that they might not bring it in, or you could go safe route, always bring Galarian Stunfisk, but always take a look at what they're actually bringing. What else might be good for it? Ferrothorn's actually decent. Mantine, not Mantine, what's it called? Drifblim, not so useful here, because they're not bringing Vigoroth, they're not bringing Alolan Marowak, we don't have to rely on that. So take a look at your options, essentially, take a look at what your opponent's bringing. And then game number 2, we have Ferrothorn against Bombsnow. So you do not have Flash Cannon, which puts you at a disadvantage. So, like I said earlier, if you're already in a losing position, just let it go. There's no reason for you to shield this, and I suspect you might. Oh.
So bad.
See, it's this half commitment and not knowing the damage. At no point in even shields are you supposed to win this, so yeah, that's gone, shields are gone, you come down, and another pretty questionable swap in. Drifblim, like I said, not the most ideal pick against this opponent, especially since what they brought the first time. The second thing is, you're taking super effective damage from Weather Balls. You're taking neutral damage from Weather Balls if you were to swap into any of your other Pokemon.
Learned this match.
Alright, this is alright. So this is one of the situations where you do want a Bubble Beam. You want to actually reduce the damage of the Body Slams because it has a shield. It can get to multiple Body Slams, and you're going to have to get to more than one charge move to actually knock this out anyways, right? You have to go for a Bubble Beam and an Ice Beam to knock it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why throw the Ice Beam first when you're still going to have to throw a Bubble Beam anyways? If they do shield the second charge move, then you might as well just go triple Bubble Beam in the end, right? So they do pull the shield here, but you've taken so much damage from the Body Slam that it doesn't really matter.
Figured the Vigoroth was coming in, that's why I brought the Drifblim in. But
if you thought they were gonna bring the Vigoroth in, then you have 2 counters to it. Didn't really matter didn't really matter if you had Mantine or you had Drifblim against it, because they're both flying type, they both resist counter. The main issue is you swapped Drifblim into an Abomasnow. Water, flying takes neutral damage from ice, takes neutral damage from grass, and a Weather Ball deals about 25-30% of a Mantine. Weather Ball against a Drifblim deals 60%. So that's a big difference. You doubled the amount of damage you took by swapping into the wrong Pokemon. Other than that, there's really not much to say about that particular battle. It's just poor decision making.
yep.
Alright, bad lead. So Body Slam is double resistant, right? You see how little that does? So the thing with this switch is your Pelipper is actually in a very good position against all of their Pokemon.
Yeah.
Um,
I know my soft win and hard win on Pelipper. If I have a Abomasnow close to half health, I can win this with the 1 shield. I can take at least 1 Weather Ball. And if I can just keep him locked in with this guy, I can have my Vigoroth take out whoever's he got in the back. Right. Oh. Uh-oh. That's a face. I saw Chaz's face. I saw Chaz's face.
Your opponent's making a couple questionable plays too.
Phone?
Questionable plays.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, my other opponents don't make questionable plays.
Alright, I have to take a second look at that. I'm a little confused actually.
And I get that Weather Ball off. And this
I think there's actually more to learn from your opponent than actually you in this match. So first thing is, very positive matchup. Makes no sense why would he would stay in for 4 counters before actually swapping out. I don't care if he's throwing a charge move. He has plenty of charge energy. So it takes 5 to Weather Ball. Same thing with counter to a Body Slam. Or 5. He's at a Weather Ball. He's at a Weather Ball. He's at 2 Weather Balls.
Did he get the third? I only counted 3. Did he get the 4th tap in?
He's almost, well, because Powder Snow is generating more energy than a counter would be. 5 counters to a Body Slam. So think about 8 or 9 Powder Snows to 2. And then he swaps into here, which is decent.
Hail Mary here.
In the 2 shields, he actually wins this matchup anyways, and it's bait dependent on your side, not his side. He's straight fire spins, he's straight bone clubs, he's in a better position. Vigoroth is not actually a counter to
oh no.
To Alolan Marowak. Oh, poke.
I had all that energy.
Yeah, because he stayed in forever. Look at this. Yeah. Vigoroth against Alolan Marowak loses everything, even while baiting.
I was shocked. I was just as shocked as you. That's why I went for the Hail Mary. I was like, I built up all this energy. He's probably thinking I'm gonna bait it. I'm just gonna shoot this this bulldoze off.
So at no point, even if you land a bulldoze, are you supposed to win. So big question mark right now. So let's continue. So if you have a guaranteed win condition, just stick with it. Don't make weird plays like farm up, take a lot of extra super effective damage in a matchup. If the opponent swaps and you have a swap for that swap, just swap. Just swap.
Yeah, I said that in a video today. I made a video today that said that. Don't do that with this cup. Unlike other cups, like keep to your win advantage. Don't need to over farm. That's nuts. You could easily go back and forth.
So he's in a very good position. He has switch advantage and shield advantage. I'm like, how can he? There's no way he loses, right? So
Almost no too.
The second thing is he doesn't swap out after getting debuffed, and you swap it as well. And like, sure, the shield makes sense. He's already at a weather ball, right? For some reason, he only likes throwing when he has 2 weather balls ready. He's at 2 weather balls right now, and now he's throwing. And then now he's staying in, and now he's throwing another one. When he has a now that he's put a lot of chip damage in you, 1 rock slide would knock you out. Actually, 1 rock slide would get pretty close to knocking you out at this range. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. Now that you have a billion energy and he doesn't finish you off while you have no shields, now he swaps into it and you double weather ball it. And he doesn't throw the rock slide right away either, because he really likes having 2 charge moves before he throws. He takes 6 mud shots. He is at an earthquake right now, and I know that it doesn't knock you out, but like, my brain. Yeah. So, yeah, the first thing is
extra tap.
Don't over farm if you don't need to. If you're taking super effective damage, get out of there. There's no reason for you to take more damage versus less damage. That's about as simple as I can put it. And the third thing is, if you have a counter swap, just counter swap. You're going to win that matchup. You already have a winning matchup in the front. Pair up your Pokemon accordingly, because what also happens is you're delaying the switch. And if you're delaying the switch and the opponent switches into a sack swap, into a different matchup, or puts a little bit of chip damage into your next Pokemon, then you're flipping that matchup completely. So, yeah. Those are the 3 things to take away from your opponent. I'm not really sure how that plays into how you would play, but that was definitely that last game was pretty confusing.
You're welcome.
All right, so in round 3, because hopefully there's more coherent games.
Maybe quick draw. Ooh, okay, this is actually a good one. I'm really happy about this one. He's actually a really good opponent.
All right. Let's look at the teams. We are looking at Driftblim, Galarian Stunfisk, Mantine, Vigoroth, Abomasnow, Skarmory. So, very similar team to the previous opponent. The only thing they don't have is the Alolan Marowak, and instead they have Driftblim. Overall, Driftblim does pretty well. It's pretty neutral against the entirety of her team. Abomasnow gave you a little bit of trouble last time. The only thing you really have to answer with that is Vigoroth. And you have lots of Vigoroth counters, so I'm not really sure why he would bring Vigoroth. So he safe swaps into that. You swap after. So pretty sure I just said if you have a swap that's ready to counter something else, don't bother throwing energy. Don't bother like.
Bro, you're gonna say that every matchup. I'm just letting you know now.
In GBL, it's very different. In GBL, you have a lot of neutral matchups going against a lot of just barely neutral matchups. For example, you're going to have Skarmory against Altaria. You're going to have Azumarill against a Skarmory. You're going to have Abomasnow against a Galarian Stunfisk. All of these are really, really close matchups. And because they are really close matchups, getting that little bit of lead before you actually swap out makes sense. But in these matchups where you have a very, very hard counter, there is no need to do it. You know exactly what your opponent has. You know exactly what you're going to swap into. You already have a team of 6 to choose from that you have essentially assigned roles for everything, especially if you've won the lead and you win the switch. Don't waste extra energy. Because imagine if he had 2 body slams here, he farmed down your previous opponent, which is exactly what he did. Now you have no energy, and there's a chance he actually wins this matchup because you threw all your weather balls, right? You have no more damage.
Weather ball, yeah.
He's like really ahead on energy right now. Yes. The only reason why is because you couldn't get a weather ball on his Vigoroth.
I have to practice keeping energy. Got it.
That's not really what I would call it. Essentially, if you have a counter for something else, then just use it to counter something else. Like use it the way it was intended. You don't. The only times you do want to use up energy is when you have a messy matchup ahead. That's the only time you want to use energy. Because if you have something that hard counters something, then why waste it when you could keep it for the matchup it was meant to be in? And now you have a Pelipper that lost to a Vigoroth. And this doesn't deal nearly enough damage.
Yeah.
So
I said the same thing to myself. That if I would have kept that weather ball, because that Vigoroth had no health, little health left, that weather ball would have gone through.
So a lot of things that players do is that they play things like they're impractical. They look at matchups like, oh, they don't play out like The Sims. They can play out like The Sims if you choose to. Just because someone swaps doesn't mean they can't be resimmed. You can put an extra 4 counters onto here. 3 or 4 counters. 2, 3, I don't know. And still straight Bone Club with Fire Spin, and you still win as an Alolan Marowak. They don't play out like Sims, but they can. And in that particular matchup, you started the lead as Pelipper against Vigoroth. That was the matchup.
Mm-hmm. He brought in
The
Skarmory.
moment he swapped out of here, open up another tab. Go into whatever that matchup was. What was that second matchup? Skarmory against a Stunfisk. That's your next matchup. And judging by the numbers, it looks like you win every time with Galarian Stunfisk, right? Let's give this Skarmory perfect IVs and 2 extra air slashes. Oh, looks like you still win. How about 3 extra air slashes? Oh, looks like you still win. Let's do 4 extra air slashes. Oh, looks like you still win.
Alright.
Meanwhile, you just wasted energy here, which means what you've essentially done is given this Vigoroth an entire extra charge move. And now the Vigoroth wins. You get what I mean? You put this energy elsewhere, and you come back into this matchup without that energy. Essentially, you're giving the opponent free energy.
Yeah.
Alright, I didn't see the lead here, but you have your switch timer.
No one swapped out. Also, notice this Mantine? This Mantine's running?
Bullet Seed.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Thought that was brilliant too. I didn't realize that till this matchup, and I was like, mother.
So this is actually a like I said, don't throw energy if you have a really good matchup up ahead. This is one of the kind of half not really exceptions. Vigoroth is good against Ferrothorn. That's just it just is, because counters dealing super effective damage to steel. But at the same time, Mantine doesn't need energy on Vigoroth to win that matchup. Doesn't need the extra 40 energy from the Bubble Beam. And Vigoroth can come back in against your Vigoroth to deal a little bit of damage. At the same time, you might be threatened by 2 Power Whips if he doesn't shield. So by throwing that Bubble Beam into a matchup where it is a little iffy, for example, this one we're looking at, Vigoroth versus Ferrothorn can get really close. That's a moment where throwing your energy is okay, and depends on how much energy you're throwing too. So Vigoroth's supposed to win. If we were to give you 2 Bullet Seeds before he swaps out, you can win in the 0. So, and another Body Slam doesn't actually KO. So in almost all scenarios, I think, with 1 Bullet Seed, yeah, you win in the 0.
Our whip does some good damage to it.
In the 0, you lose, but you were definitely swapping first. So in the 0 shield, he would have lost. But if he had reduced the damage from the Power Whips by throwing that Bubble Beam first, then he has a guaranteed win in all 3 shield scenarios at that point. So in these type of scenarios, if it's something like to debuff opponents before swapping out, then that makes more sense. But if he was going to play into the 1 shield anyways, no matter what, then it makes no sense for him to shield. But this is, I'm pointing out that this is an example or a reason for people to actually throw energies before swapping. Like, okay. This makes sense. Did Heather just subscribe?
Kochimon just subscribed for you.
Did you just say Kochimon?
Sorry. I don't even know what that name was. I thought it was like
it's Cochino Mom.
Kochima. Oh yeah. I'm so bad with names, man.
Thank you, Heather, for the subscription.
Hopefully Yeah, hopefully you guys get a good laugh at that.
All right. So
I get my power whip. I get the first one off. I get
Yep.
the second one.
So you see how he's barely in the like green, like he's like 1 or 2 bullet seeds away from the yellow. So what that means is he can survive an extra power whip if he knows he would not shield. So he committed to the 1 shield anyways. So there was no point in him throwing that bubble beam. Because he should survive, right? He should survive. He's still in the green. The bullet seeds and the power up that you have thrown thus far would not knock him out. So please don't shield here. Oh god. He's just gonna farm me down. He's gonna shield and farm down. Oh god, what is he doing?
Gonna shield and farm down.
What are you doing?
Exactly. That's a good question. That's a Brave Bird. I just gave him a Brave Bird because I swapped in the wrong Mon.
Wait, let me double check. Did he use a Skarmory the first game? Yeah, he brought a Skarmory the first game, right?
Yeah.
Remember what we talked about? If he brings the Skarmory the first time...
I didn't think he would bring it because I brought the Galarian Stunfisk and synced it up so well.
It didn't matter. If he has it, he's going to use it. If he uses the first time, he's going to use the second time. That's what having a Skarmory means. Skarmory is really... does well against your Ferrothorn, does well against your Drifblim, can win against your Mantine depending if it lands a bait. Wins in the 0-1 against your Vigoroth, and wins against Pelipper. So that's like 2 good matchups, 3 neutral/good matchups, and 1 loss. Just because you paired up once doesn't mean he's not going to bring it.
Yeah, I learned that real quickly.
Yeah, this game's over. Alright. So, he's brought Mantine, he's brought Vigoroth, and he's brought Skarmory. I think that's the exact same team he brought the first time. Yeah. That is the exact same team he brought the first time. That should be what you should be focusing on right now. What beats that trio? And that trio specifically, because you don't give a crap about what else he brought, what else he might bring, whatever. Like, you're gonna bring 1 Pokemon that does the best against all of that. And running through your entire team, Ferrothorn definitely doesn't do that. It only beats Mantine. Drifblim does pretty decent against all 3. Hardwalling Vigoroth gets really close with the other 2. Mantine, you should be bringing, not Pelipper, Mantine, because it for sure wins Vigoroth. It can win Skarmory better than Pelipper does, and it's a mirror match against Mantine. And then Galarian Stunfisk only beats 1 of the 3. Vigoroth, you have for the mirror match, and then you have it for Skarmory. So the one thing you should be focusing on is bringing Mantine and possibly Drifblim with it. And the one thing you're worried about with those 2 Pokemon is essentially nothing. If they bring Galarian Stunfisk, then you have Mantine to deal with it. If they bring Mantine, then you can just use a mirror match. If they bring Snow, maybe you have a little bit of trouble, but Mantine can still win that. So maybe you want to bring Vigoroth with that. So bring a fighter and double flyer. Your focus should be on the 3 Pokemon he brought 2 times in a row. That's it. Wow, a Mantine. Who would have thought? Alright, let's fast forward this. Oh no, never mind, you swap out. Alright, not bad. But the thing is, he's using Bullet Seed. I'm just gonna I'm gonna double check this because I don't know the Bullet Seed matchup.
Brought in Vigoroth. He threw
Okay,
in
that's definitely a bad swap. So you actually still lose against Bolt Seed, which is questionable. So this you win for sure. You can straight Bubble Beam, you can straight Ice Beam, you can do whatever the hell you want. But with the Ice Beams, if he shields a Ice Beam and you try to go for another one, you clearly have to go for another bigger one. So how I would play this out is I would actually just straight Bubble Beam. You're going to guarantee a win if you straight Bubble Beam. Meanwhile, if you Ice Beam it, if they shield an Ice Beam, you might run into a little bit of a trouble. So, Bubble... Let's go Bubble, straight Bubble Beam. There's no
made a
reason.
quick swap.
Looks like IVs matter a little bit. What's your IVs?
On Mantine, it's ranked 8.
Yeah. You win that. You win straight Bubble Beam.
Oh, thank God he swapped. I
And
knew
then-
that.
Ice Beam, straight Ice Beam, you can actually lose. See? You lose in the 1 shield and you lose in the 2 shield if you straight Ice Beam. So, Bubble Beam first. If you want to go for an Ice Beam next, then you can, but you're playing into lose conditions by doing that. And, nice swap. I just wanna admire that swap again.
Like, this is how smooth I want my swaps to be, and sometimes...
No,
and
I'm saying you swapped out a Galarian Stunfisk into a Vigoroth.
Yeah.
You
No?
didn't even wait to see what it was.
Oh, yeah, no, I saw it at the top. So if you look at the top right, go back. Go
I
back,
know,
'cause
but
it'll-
why did you swap out of a Galarian Stunfisk?
Damage,
It's a Skarmory.
right? I want to get that shield. I want to get that shield from him. I wanted that shield from him. I want that shield from him.
You're playing into lose conditions. That's what you're doing.
Okay.
If you have a guaranteed win, just stick with it. You don't have to shield this pancake. You just stay in. You have 75% HP.
To be honest.
Imagine
Yeah.
if you swapped into a grass type. You blind swap into a grass type, or you blind swap into Ferrothorn. One like I want to pull the shield, or you blind swap into Pelipper, or you.
I pulled up the screen at the top right, dude. It shows you what the typings are.
I know, but there's literally no reason to swap in a Vigor out there. This game could have been over like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Don't play into lose conditions. Don't play fancy. There are simulations for a reason. They are straightforward. They are easy to follow. They tell you exactly what happens if you have the right IVs. So, let's head back to the beginning. This makes sense. You swap out. You catch a charge move. They're questionable swap into Vigoroth. Throw Bubble Beams, not Ice Beams, because if they shield an Ice Beam in the 1 and the 2 shield, you'll lose this matchup. So Bubble Beam would guarantee the win. Ice Beam does not. So they do this, you Bubble Beam down, they swap into their own Mantine, you're fine with that, you don't really care, your Mantine's already dead. They give up switch advantage, they have no... you have an energy advantage, you go for a Rock Slide, Bolt Seats don't really do much. And they let it go for some reason, even though they have a Skarmory in the back, which is even worse. And then they let you kill this too. Yeah. God help me. God help me.
Coming up, being like, what the are you doing, buddy? This is why it's practice. Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially don't do anything the opponent just did.
Okay.
Don't swap a Vigoroth into a Mantine. Or at least if you're going to do that, throw a Bubble Beam first. Throw an Ice Beam first.
Okay.
Because Vigoroth against Mantine is in a much better position than Mantine is, or like, yeah, you get what I mean. Like I said, if it's an iffy matchup later down the line, that's when you throw energy. If you have a hard blue in, don't throw energy. Very simple. If it's this, you do this. If it's a this, you do this. And don't swap into the losing Pokemon. Skarmory has some type of win condition against the Mantine. Vigoroth does not. And they saw your Galarian Stunfisk. They saw your Galarian Stunfisk. They're like, okay, my Skarmory is weak to this Galarian Stunfisk. Keep it away at all costs. That should be the first thing that comes to mind. Keep Skarmory away from Galarian Stunfisk. That should be the only thing in your mind.
Okay.
Or in their mind. So, for reference, that's what you should be thinking if that happens to you. So, he is...
See, I adjusted. I brought back in the Galarian Stunfisk.
He played into the big lose condition. Literally, the only way he loses is if he has Galarian Stunfisk on his Skarmory. And he was like, you know what? Let's let this guy die. Let's let you rock slide my next guy, and then let me be able to do nothing. So yeah, next. Yeah, that game hurt a little bit. Next opponent, Professor Vitali. Alright, let's update to round 4. No, got him. Not this time. Because I'm roasting him.
Wants to jump on?
Got him.
Oh, got him. No, buddy. Look, it's real. This is real. Yeah.
Got him's a memer too. His input is
Oh man, just wait. Oh my god.
So Shadow Bone Snow, Swampert. What the hell is this team? You have no fire types you need to worry about. You have 4 Pokemon that beat a Swampert. There's no reason they should bring it. A Shadow Snow kind of destroys your team, so you have to bring Vigoroth at all times. And it should probably be something you should be leading with.
Okay.
So here's the thing. When you have one counter to a particular Pokemon, never swap into it. The reason why is they can swap, right? If you swap, their switch timer's up. There is no reason for them to stay in. So never swap in, never so-called safe swap into your hardest counter. Always swap into the thing that either is worse off against it, even if it's not a counter, or let your first Pokemon die. Those are your 2 choices. Because now that you've swapped into your one and only Abomasnow counter, it's gone. Because it gets beat by whatever they swap in, and whatever you have paired against Abomasnow will lose, and Abomasnow is going to sweep the rest of your team. What is he doing? Why is he not shielding? Okay, yeah, good swap. So you recognized that Vigoroth was your only Abomasnow counter, right? So that's probably the smartest thing I've seen you do all day. Realigning your Pokemon after you've lost which event. So this is the same thing as sacking your Ferrothorn into the Abomasnow. This is exactly the same thing. If you swapped in the Ferrothorn, he would come in with the Skarmory. The only issue is you spent a shield on that, and now you have nothing to protect your Vigoroth because of how fast Abomasnow generates energy. So that's the one issue you're running into now. So what you should have done is just let the Sky Attack through, just chip away at this thing, and then hopefully have Drifblim farm down the Skarmory, and then try to throw a couple charge moves at the whatchamacallit, Abomasnow. Your opponent's actually doing pretty well in recognizing that his Abomasnow can steamroll the entirety of your team as long as it has energy. So that's what he's doing.
That's why he kept both shields. He Rambertoed me because he realized that. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So bad swap at the beginning. You kind of recovered by recognizing that you can gain switch advantage and you can realign, but you gave up that chance of possibly doing that by giving up your shield against the Skarmory.
Okay, so if I do realign,
so it's one of your half commitment things. If you want Vigoroth against Abomasnow, you need to prepare Vigoroth to be able to beat it. Without the shields, with 2 shields down, Vigoroth might as well be dead at that point as well. So yeah, it's your kind of half commitment on the whatchamacallit. Well, what was it at the beginning? The 2 shielding thing at the beginning. If you're going to shield and you lose the switch advantage anyways, then you either go 2 shields or you don't shield at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same thing with this. If you're needing one thing to beat something else, you commit to having that one Pokemon in response to the other. Whether that's if it's a hard counter, then you don't need a shield, then that's fine. But Vigoroth against Abomasnow is such a tight matchup and energy dependent. You need energy, you need HP, you need shields. Especially if they have 1, even 2 shields. Having no shields for Vigoroth means that it can throw a Weather Ball and your Vigoroth is no longer an Abomasnow counter. The only way your Vigoroth is an Abomasnow counter is if it gets those counter fast damage off on the Abomasnow, which you can't do if you don't have a shield. So it's one of those half commitment things. You've committed to sacrificing your Ferrothorn, right? Then leave it at that. Let the Ferrothorn die. You've committed to throwing it out. Don't shield it. Don't bother. The only thing you need to worry about is Vigoroth versus Abomasnow. The only thing in your mind.
Okay. I don't know why I baited. I should have realized that after a Bubble Beam, he was going to debuff me and not shield, knowing that he could survive a Hurricane.
This is fine, though. You just shielded an Ice Beam.
Mm-hmm.
At least you didn't swap into
Galarian Stunfisk.
Galarian Stunfisk this time.
I learned from my matches, man.
Alright, he didn't get a body slam. I mean, he didn't get a Bubble Beam off. That's good. He's probably going to swap into Abomasnow here.
I'm kind of hoping that I can get that Rock Slide to do half that damage and get those counters to really do it.
So what I would actually do is not throw that Rock Slide right away, because what if it's not an Abomasnow, right? You threw a Rock Slide onto Abomasnow that is really good, but imagine if it wasn't. So
you
what I
said
would do
to my teams prior, and I knew the Abomasnow was such a hard hitter against my team.
I know, but still, like there was a safer way to play it, because no matter what they throw with Skarmory, you survive on with your Galarian Stunfisk, right?
Right.
So Skarmory can stay in that matchup forever, but it's still going to lose. So you could have farmed up to 100 energy, or like farmed up to like 2 Rock Slides, 100 energy, waited for him to swap, waited to see what he swaps into. There's a safe way to play that matchup, and there's no reason for you to be in a hurry to spend that energy on the Skarmory, because if you spent that energy on the Skarmory, you're back to 0 energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're back to 0 energy and the Abomasnow comes in, then you lose that matchup, because you've taken a little bit of chip damage with the air slashes, which is all it needs for an Abomasnow to win that matchup. 2 weather balls plus a little bit of chip damage wins. You would have lost that matchup if you had not been able to get that rock slide on the Abomasnow. So he sack swapped incorrectly. What he really wanted was to have the rock slide land on his Skarmory, because that does more damage on the Abomasnow than it does on the Skarmory, right? Because one's super effective rock slide on the Abomasnow, one is neutral damage on the Skarmory. So he sack swapped incorrectly, and although he still won, you need to recognize that the only way you actually win the Abomasnow is if you're farming up 2 rock slides and you just instant nuke it. Because you have a Vigoroth against Skarmory, which isn't the most favorable matchup, so you need Galarian Stunfisk for both those matchups. And how do you get Galarian Stunfisk to defeat an Abomasnow and back onto a Skarmory? You instantly nuke it with 2 rock slides, which is why you shouldn't spend energy on the Skarmory until you're about to max out on energy.
Okay.
So the question comes down to, how do we beat the Abomasnow? The question isn't how do we beat the Skarmory. We know how to beat the Skarmory. We have chip damage from Vigoroth, and we have a hard counter for with Galarian Stunfisk, right? For Skarmory.
Yeah.
For Abomasnow, we clearly cannot have Vigoroth paired up against Abomasnow long enough for it to survive the Sky Attack coming from Skarmory. So that means we have to rely almost entirely on Galarian Stunfisk. Which means Galarian Stunfisk needs to be able to beat Abomasnow. But how does it beat Abomasnow if it's a losing matchup? The only way is, there are 3 rules of 3 advantages that I teach people. 1, HP advantage. 2nd, shield advantage. 3rd is energy advantage. You need one of the 3 to beat Abomasnow. You don't have HP advantage because you're taking damage from the air slashes. The Abomasnow is going to come in with full HP. The second one is shield advantage. Shields, you're both even shields or 0 shields, I can't remember what it was, but you're both on even shields, or you both have the same number of shields, whatever it was. It was 0 or 1. So that's not an advantage you have. So the only advantage you can have going into that final Galarian Stunfisk versus Abomasnow matchup is with energy advantage, which you would have lost if you threw your energy on the Skarmory, which was what you were intending to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So keep those in mind. Those 3 advantages, you need to have one or the other to win a losing matchup, which Galarian Stunfisk versus Abomasnow technically is. But you need a lead that's so large that it can win Skarmory afterwards as well. So you need to capitalize on one of those to the extreme. And to do that, you need to farm up to 100 with the Galarian Stunfisk before you throw energy, and if they don't swap, that's when you throw your energy. If you farm up to 80 energy and then they swap into Abomasnow, double rock slide, it's gone. Make sense?
Yeah. Build up for double the energy, then throw. Don't hurry. Yeah. No reason.
No hurry is essentially the right way to kind of think about it. You're not in a hurry to kill the Skarmory. You can stay in that matchup forever. Galarian Stunfisk versus Skarmory. It's something we've seen in GPO over and over again. We're in no hurry to throw energy. We're in no hurry to knock it out.
Made the wrong guess.
This is fine. You debuffed it. It's throwing its energy. You can win this matchup now because of that. You're still on even shields, so it's not too bad. Should be able to bubble it down. So right there, you essentially gave shield advantage up for switch. I mean, you still would have came out of it alive.
I was worried about the energy ball.
Pretty sure you didn't have the energy for it, but it's not too bad because, like we've talked about, he does not have anything else really other than Abomasnow that threatens your entire team. So getting rid of that Abomasnow was like priority. But even if you did not get rid of the Abomasnow, you have Vigoroth for that matchup. Farm it down, even shield, whatever they have in the back. Thank you, Trader Rem, for the 7 viewer raid. Welcome to the SosaFlo roast.
Were you part of Kaiser tournament? Chaz?
Nope.
A Kaiser.
I don't compete anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I meant. That's what being retired means.
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
So your lineup here, the issue is you don't have a real Mantine counter. So, and he brought a Mantine. So your next matchup should be thinking about how to deal with Mantine and Abomasnow together. The best answer for that is your own Mantine, followed by Pelipper. Pelipper can win a Shadow Abomasnow straight by the ball. So that's the one disadvantage of a Abomasnow. Looks like, actually, was that 3 games or was that 2?
That was 3. That was the same as the first one.
Oh. Let's see, Skarmory, Abomasnow, Mantine, Skarmory, Abomasnow. Oh, hey, same team, all 3 times. Looks like you didn't learn.
I made the adjustment, and then I made a guess, and I just overthought it.
So the Pelipper Abomasnow matchup, I understand that not very many people know it because it's what do you call it? It's unique because of the shadow variation, and Abomasnow usually wins Pelipper anyways if you don't land a Hurricane. But this is something I learned because I did play GBL with Pelipper a lot. Pelipper wins Abomasnow in the 1 shield straight with the ball. Let's see, Pelipper versus Abomasnow.
Yeah, I've heard great flames, and I've won a bunch of matchups because of the weather ball because of the debuff of the shadow.
Okay, nobody throws the energy ball there. Let's be real.
Let's be real.
Yeah, and then if you have like slightly better matchups, let's be real. I mean, slightly better IVs.
Let me get him up for you.
You win. Like, you win by like a hair. And if you don't win by a hair, it's always simultaneous KO. So, Pelipper, definitely a decent choice there. Against Mantine, like I said, bait dependent. So, it at least deals with 2 of the Pokemon that your opponent is bringing. The third thing is against Skarmory. Pelipper actually doesn't do too bad. It falls just short in the 0 shields, and it's actually right at that final weather ball as well. If you actually double up, what is it, 70 energy, weather ball, weather ball. Oh wait, this is the no shield that we should be looking at. Wait a minute. Wait, what are your IVs? You were checking?
It was 215 and 12.
215, 12. Okay. So, a lot of times people throw 1 sky attack. And they don't actually throw the second one because they think they can farm down.
Yeah, and they can't, and I
Yeah,
love it.
They cannot farm down. So what actually ends up happening is you're actually actually you don't. Oh wait, no, everybody has a decent Skarmory. Let's change that too. Oh no, your Skarmory is actually not good enough. I mean, your Pelipper is actually not good enough to get to a third one. So I play this very, very weird. I only throw my first Sky attack. I mean, I only throw my first Weather Ball after their first Sky attack. I chain a Wing attack into their first Air Slash before I throw the Weather Ball. And then I charge up to 2 Weather Balls before I actually throw. That way I skip one of their attacks, and I actually have better IVs than this. Let's change it to 14, 15, yeah. Better. But apparently not enough. I actually have a really good Pelipper. And I'm able to actually get to 3 Weather Balls. So that's like a really weird way to play it, and a way that nobody should actually. I don't recommend anybody play it because you have to be really, really careful with your opponent not throwing their Sky attack. And if they do, then they just used a 40 energy, so that's not even too bad. So Pelipper would have been a really good choice to bring, and we're getting slightly off track. But yeah, nice overlay, my dude. Dude, I literally slapped this together yesterday. All of my overlays are just literally slapped together last minute. All right, round 5.
I'm gonna go and hide in a trash can on this one. I was already in a funk. The Yankees just gave up the game winning home run. I was not okay. But no, that's no excuse. This player, I mean, obviously healing this one is really actually knows what he's doing. Great battles. But I was just in a funk, and please don't judge me too hard. Laugh all you want. You can roast me, but don't judge me.
Swampert, like I said, absolutely useless against your team. Abomasnow does alright. Alolan Marowak, it's pretty tricky to use it effectively against your team unless it gets paired up with the Ferrothorn. No reason they're not using their Abomasnow and Vigoroth to deal with it instead. So what I would think they would be bringing would be Abomasnow, Vigoroth, and Mantine. Possibly Galarian Stunfisk in place of any of the 2 in the back. But we see the Mantine right away. Mantine's going to give everybody problems. Going to be quite bait dependent here as well. So what you should have done is just commit to the Hurricane. You're going to survive a Bubble Beam anyways. I told you that if you're in a losing position, just let it loose. You're not going to come out of this any better off than you are by shielding. You decide to swap, which is also another error because this is not a counter to that. And now that they can Bubble Beam you before swapping, they will do that. And now you're even in worse position because you didn't have the wing attacks that would have been necessary for this Body Slam to KO, and you just shielded a Bubble Beam. I don't think he even has to shield a Body Slam at this point. He can farm you down. Yeah, man. Oh boy. He can even survive this one. That's the funny part. Oh boy.
Like I said, this trainer is really good, and I was just not okay. I was getting real tilted.
Yep, he has a shield up on, yeah, that's not much you can do. It's all Ogre now. I mean, at least he shielded a weather ball. And he has to throw a double weather ball to KO. Actually, I'm gonna double check. Does a Power Whip do more damage or a Thunder? I think it's still a Power Whip.
It's very close, but I was hoping to get that energy right there. There. And Power Whips. 45.
Yeah, Power Whip still does more damage. No, he played that well. Even after screwing it up and shooting a weather ball, he played that well. Like, his energy management there was pretty darn good. Your mistake was at the, like I talked about this. If you lose the lead with Pelipper, if you lose a matchup which is fully bait dependent, and you've already lost it, there's no way you come back from this. Take the loss. Take the bubble beam, whatever crap. If it's an ice beam, take it as well. You're going to lose this no matter what, right? And after having lost that, you get bubble beamed because you decided to make an even worse mistake by swapping out. You don't have the wing attack damage necessary for this body slam to KO. You get bubble beamed, a shield down with an extra body slam, and you still lose that the mirror match. Like that's bad. When you could have had a shield for this particular matchup, you would have actually been able to get to that extra Power Whip because he made the bad swap and gave you extra bullet sleeve, whatnot. But yeah, like that lead scenario is the same thing we've talked about over and over again. Don't undercommit, don't overcommit. Just have one, choose what you want to do. Don't half-ass shield, don't half-ass throw energy, don't half-ass bait. If you're gonna lose, you just lose it the right way. Don't lose shields, don't lose energy, don't lose extra HP while in the process of losing, right? Just take whatever losses and move into the next matchup. Try to get energy advantage, try to get shield advantage going into the next match. Because whenever you give up switch advantage, the one thing you will get is energy advantage. The one thing you will come out ahead of is an extra 2, 3, 4 fast attacks, and that's the only thing you can bank on. But if you're going to swap into something that's not going to die, and something that's going to debuff you, something that's going to deal more damage than you can take, and give up a extra shield while doing that, you've lost any type of advantage you had. Whatever energy that you did gain through that switch advantage, you lost because you gave up a shield, and they have an extra shield. So you're putting yourself in an even worse position if you were to not let that Pelipper go. So, like I said, don't undercommit, don't overcommit. Just decide what you want to do. Don't do the in-between stuff. Same thing with this. This is a losing matchup. Don't half-ass it. Decide what you want to do. If you're gonna just full bait, full push as many shields as you can, just stick to that. You're gonna lose this anyways. Don't shield it. You debuff them. You're going to be able to get to a next charge move because of it. Don't shield. You generate energy at the exact same speed, but a weather ball is even cheaper than your charge move. So right there, they're definitely going to get the second charge move. And because you had an energy for the shadow ball, and you're not going to get to another charge move, not really, there's very little reason for you not to go for the shadow ball, potentially nuke it. Because if he knew The Weather Ball was not actually... I mean, the Icy Wind was not actually supposed to KO. So he gives up switch advantage. He has like a no HP Abomasnow in the back now. Questionable play on their side. Go for the Bubble Beam, like I said. Don't go for the Ice Beam. If you straight Ice Beam and they shield, you lose. And the faster you Bubble Beam them, the less damage you're taking, and the more you can farm down the line.
Freak out, I shield.
Oh, you've already lost this. They have a full HP Pokemon.
Ah. Oh yeah. I said.
And the one thing your Vigoroth can beat is gone. Abomasnow is the one thing your Vigoroth can consistently beat, and it's gone. So this match was way over.
Yep.
All right, let's take a second look at that. So, first thing I talked about, swapping out is fine, but a lot of times Pokemon don't actually. A lot of times in debuffing matchups, whether that's what do you call it? Whether that's Articuno, whether that's Mantine, whether that's Drifblim, whether that's Dugong, what you're supposed to win with Icy Wind, you actually lose if they swap out. The reason why is whatever debuffs they placed on you goes away, and once you come back into that matchup, you get to refresh the debuffs, you're doing full damage again, they actually lose that matchup. So Vigoroth versus Abomasnow, Vigoroth versus Mantine is one of those matchups where it's actually really close if you remove the debuffs by swapping. So what I would have done was I would have actually thrown a Body Slam before I actually swapped out. I would let them Bubble Beam me before I swap out, because now they can go back into whatever matchup they want with that Mantine, and they get to bubble you with that energy that they swapped out with. If they had used it, that debuff is gone, that Bubble Beam does little damage, it's useless. So, like I said here, you're going to be able to survive a Weather Ball anyways, no reason to shield. They swap into Vigoroth, you swap into Mantine, that's fine. Going for the Ice Beam first every time means that you're not debuffing it, means you're taking more damage from the Body Slams than you need to be, which is the reason why you had the shield.
Yeah.
So this, they throw the energy right away, but it's the shield difference here. If you had, for example, taken what do you call it? Can you see my mouse on screen, actually?
Yeah.
So, you would have taken that much damage from Bubble Beam. And your Body Slam would have done that much each. So, 3 Body Slams definitely would KO. If you had swapped out, then you would have been able to remove the debuff, whatnot. Did he Ice Beam? Oh yeah, he did Ice Beam.
This is the middle. This is the rematch when we come back into it. Not the leads. I made a quick swap lead.
So you see how much HP it has right now?
Yeah.
Imagine if you did throw the very first Body Slam before swapping out.
Right.
You would have came out of this
A lot better.
Yeah, you would have won this matchup. So, they brought Vigoroth, Abomasnow, Mantine. Look for the best Pokemon for that. Pelipper's alright. Vigoroth is alright. Ferrothorn, probably not the best idea. Riftbrim, probably not the best idea. Mantine is alright. Galarian Stunfisk, probably not the best idea either. So Pelipper, Vigoroth, and Mantine.
You're about to see the worst. You're about to cry. I stopped tapping. You're about to cry. Get the lead! Yeah! Remember when I stopped tapping? Remember when I said you're about to cry? I was so sad at myself, so mad. All this bad was happening. I was done. I was so pissed.
Hey Martha, you came in just in time.
Perfect timing, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
You came in to see that.
Yep.
Oh.
Dude, I already know about this matchup. Like, there's nothing else matters about this matchup.
So, I don't know how relevant this is to you, but one of the very first things I teach all of my students is make sure you know what you're switching into. There's two things you should be doing. You see the lead. You have 3 full seconds to see what lead you have, right? You can decide whether you can swap, you can decide whether you can stay. Either way, your switch window should almost always be open. Very first thing. If you have a good lead, switch window open. Anticipate the switch. See what's on the left, see what's on the right, know what you want to swap into. Don't waste time. Your opponent will most likely switch. If you have a bad lead, you're gonna switch anyways, right? Have your switch window open. Immediately, take a second to see what you need to swap into. Switch window open, always. First thing you do, once you enter a battle. Unless it's a mirror match or unless it's a matchup that is very tight, bait dependent, no one's gonna switch, then leave your switch window closed.
Okay.
But really hard lead, really bad lead, whatever it is, switch window open. See what the hell you have on either side. Don't swap a Ferrothorn into goddamn Marowak. Most rookie mistake in the world.
Did you see I immediately undone my 10 times during the battle? I was like, I'm so embarrassed with myself. I'm so mad that this is the footage I had to show you. I'm really mad at myself that I couldn't provide you something that wasn't so freaking, not to take away from feeling this one. He played those first 2 very well. It's a great battle.
No, he was good. He was good. He really was good.
I effed that up. That was horrible.
Yeah, but like, the most rookie mistake has the easiest solution. Switch windows can be open and closed. If you don't want to swap, you can close it after. If you see a bad swap and you want to stay in, you can close it after. If you don't intend to swap, you can still open it and close it. You don't have to swap. Easiest solution in the world. Just take a look at what you have. Take a full second, take whatever you want. Make sure you're tapping over top. Don't be one of those people who go like, oh, I opened it, I accidentally have to click something. No, just you have a giant ass 6-inch screen. You have plenty of space to click.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alright, final round against Rack 146.
First Wigglytuff I get to see in the tournament. This person has on their team. I don't know if they brought it or not.
First thing I see, Obstagoon, Wigglytuff. Always focus on the key weird things on top of the like I said, for those who are joining in late, one of the first things I say is look at the flyers. Flyers dominate the entire meta, dominate the entire cup. Focus on what 2 flyers they have. Focus on how you respond to those flyers, because usually the answer is I can't just use Galarian Stunfisk for whatever it is, because there's usually a Mantine. If they have 2 flyers, I swap Galarian Stunfisk into 1. I don't have it for the other flyer. In this case in particular, Galarian Stunfisk is good against both flyers. That should be your first insta-pick. I can deal with both flyers with 1 Pokemon. The second thing is Mantine does the same thing. Drifblim that gets rid of close. How else do I deal with something that beats Galarian Stunfisk? You have several options. You have Pelipper, you have Mantine, you have Vigoroth. You have plenty of things that beat Galarian Stunfisk. Ferrothorn actually does that decently as well, but they have a fighter, they have a fire, and they have an ice, which is probably not the most favorable thing, although it's really good against a 1438 Wigglytuff, so that's something. Vigoroth will probably win this 1438 Wigglytuff as well, so definitely looking into that. Vigoroth can 2-shield win Altaria, Skarmory, probably the Wigglytuff in the 1-shield. Gets okay matchups against Alolan Marowak because it's throwing Bone Clubs, and then against Abomasnow and Obstagoon, super effective damage, double super effective damage. So first thing I see, Galarian Stunfisk paired with Vigoroth. Let's pair it with something that probably loses less hard against Alolan Marowak, and possibly something that deals with the flyers as well. Mantine, Galarian Stunfisk, Vigoroth. Very how do I describe it? It's very it has a process. Your thought process, your what you're deciding for your team, for your line, would follow a very, very simple what has the best matchups. And that should be what you should be doing the entire time. You should be it can be as simple as counting how many wins-loss does Ferrothorn have, how many win-loss does Drifblim have, how many win-loss does Mantine have, how many win-loss does Galarian Stunfisk has. For example, Galarian Stunfisk has win against Altaria, win against Skarmory, loss against Obstagoon, loss against Abomasnow, win against Wigglytuff, and win against a Marowak. So that's 4 wins, 2 losses. If you want to call Marowak a tie, you can say 4-1-1. Or 4-1, no, 3-1-2. 3-1-2. So that is one of the ways you can pick what Pokemon you should be using. The second way, like I just went through, is a very thematic approach. Focus on 1 Pokemon that does as much as possible, and then back it up. Those are your 2 options. But the moment I saw Pelipper, I was like, bro, what are you thinking? It loses against 4 of their Pokemon. Yeah? Loses against Altaria, loses against Skarmory, loses against Abomasnow, and loses against Wigglytuff. So I had to go into that. Alright, and then I remember seeing the first bit of this matchup. I remember you shielding. I don't know why you shielded. Just go for a Hurricane. So don't bait.
I was tilted at this point, bro. I was so done. After that Ferrothorn thing, dude, I was so out of it. The Yankees had just lost to the Tampa Bay Rays. It was just a whirlwind. I was just playing my regular. It was so bad.
Remember when I said they have 2 flyers and they're probably...
No, I understand how the meta works. I really wish that Earthquake would have gone through, not that Rock Slide.
And you see how every time you throw a charge move and they're still in the green, it means the second one doesn't KO, which means probably going for the Rock Slide isn't the best idea unless you're baiting up to the Earthquake and then throwing the Rock Slide, because now they can no shield, although they shielded for some goddamn reason, I don't know. But they're definitely well into the green to be able to survive another Rock Slide and like 20 extra mud shots. Look, how many more mud shots until it gets into yellow?
And get till it freezes.
Yeah, that didn't matter. You have nothing to deal with Altaria. Remember what I said? If you have 1 hard counter for something, swap into the one that isn't the hard counter, right? Because whatever hard counter you have will be gone. Whatever they have that is no longer checked will steamroll the rest of your team. Unless you have 2 Altaria counters in the back, don't swap into the hard one. you should have instant safe swapped into Vigoroth. You can 2-shield the Altaria if you want to really win that and they don't swap out. But swapping into Galarian Stunfisk means your Galarian Stunfisk is essentially useless at that point, and you have nothing else to deal with Altaria.
Yeah.
And throwing the Weather Ball on Altaria also.
It was dumb.
Yeah, like, it's a losing matchup anyways, right? Don't do the in-between. You either swap out or you stay in. You did the in-between again.
Commit or don't commit. I just gave myself losing advantages. Like, why aren't I throwing that immediately?
Oh, no, the game's over. There's nothing you can win. Even if Marowak comes in with like a Bone Club, you're dead. Nope, doesn't even need a Bone Club. Just needs 3 Fire Spins. So yeah, definitely safe swapping into Vigoroth would have been very, very favorable. He doesn't really have a good team against it. He would have to rely solely on Wigglytuff and Alolan Marowak to regain switch advantage. Because you win 2 shields against Altaria, you win 2 shields against Skarmory, and with a 1438 Wigglytuff, you might actually be able to win it in the 2 shields. Let me double check. Vigoroth against a really bad Wigglytuff. How bad does it have to be? 26. Nope, not that bad. 8. 7.5.
Chad's probably gonna want to scoop through battle.
What?
I think my buddy sends me something inappropriate through text message.
Oh, right.
Yeah, cool. Just a heads up.
Yeah, you're gonna get me banned.
Perfect. Last thing I want you to do is have something horrible on your thing, because my buddy, at the same time, texts me. Because he's so goddamn pissed that the Yankees lost to.
Alright, 1432. Let's see how this plays out. Oh, nope. Looks like you don't actually win this. You have a decent Vigoroth?
Yeah.
Everyone should have a decent one. Okay, yeah, you still lose to 2 shields.
On Community Day. So where you at, baby?
Yeah, if you swipe swap into Vigoroth, you win the 1 shield because you're gonna have an extra counter anyways. So even with bad IVs, you're definitely going to be able to get to it.
Or 15-6.
It doesn't matter. With 1 extra counter, you do, like I said, you swap. If you give up safe swap, if you give up switch advantage, you're always gaining energy advantage, whether that's 1 turn or even half a turn, unless they blind swap right away like the Nut does, and swaps their Charizard into your Lantern, which is hilarious. Then you're fine. So essentially, unless they're bringing Wigglytuff, swapping into Vigoroth is almost like you can't lose. So please don't bring a Pelipper again. Please don't throw a Weather Ball at a Pelipper. I mean on an Altaria. Alright, real good lead. Please don't screw this up. Notice how that it's still in the green after the furry first Rock Slide. So what's going to happen is you're going to get 2 Rock Slides. It's still going to be in the red. It's actually going to need to take another like 10 more Mud Shots before it faints. The fact that they decided to shield means you will get those extra Mud Shots. This will actually get really close to knocking out. So being very observant of the actual bars and the colors will actually put you in a really good position as well, knowing exactly how much you're doing. Whether that's for a different matchup, whether for it's that specific matchup, something you can reference later on. So that's a really good thing to do. So I call this the Monty Hall of Pokemon Go. So the Monty Hall thing is where you have Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. You pick door number 1 and they show you door number 3. Do you switch? You're mathematically you're supposed to switch to number 2 because somehow mathematics says that that's the right option. But that I'm not following that math. I just use it because there's 3 options and then your switching is better option. And I use that because you have 2 counters in the back, right? You have 2 counters to the Galarian Obstagoon. You have 2 counters to Obstagoon. Whatever they have that they swap in it with was clearly better for against your Galarian Stunfisk, which means Galarian Stunfisk is better for whatever's in the back, correct? Because they bring in their hardest counter, assuming you won't switch. But by switching, you get to realign your Galarian Stunfisk with whatever that they have worse. But there's also an issue. If you do not have 2 counters in the back, you do not switch. Because if you do not have 2 counters in the back, you have nothing to deal with Obstagoon anymore, right? If you only have Vigoroth, but you have Ferrothorn in the back, then Obstagoon sweeps the rest of your line, correct?
Correct.
But if you have 2 counters in the back, you have no issue with sacrificing one. So swapping is usually the right decision even after you win the lead. Especially if you have 2 counters in the back. Think about this as sacrificing one to make use of whatever Galarian Stunfisk you have left. If your Galarian Stunfisk is too low, then you don't need it and whatnot. But against this particular opponent, it's a very, very smart move to do that because they do have 2 flyers that is weak to Skarmory. I mean, weak to Galarian Stunfisk, correct?
Right.
So swapping out of that is actually very, very good idea, knowing that there is a very high chance that Galarian Stunfisk will be useful later on. Even against the Abomasnow, you're able to Rock Slide it. Against the Wigglytuff, deal super effective damage. Against the Alolan Marowak, can deal super effective damage as well. So swapping out of that, brilliant move. One of the things that I can't stress enough to all the people who just decide to stay in and let themselves be farmed down.
No, I didn't want to be farmed down. I saw how much health I had. If it broke.
There's no reason for you to bait here. You're a shield ahead, you're a Pokemon ahead, you're HP ahead. There's no reason to bait. Like I said, if there's a safe win condition, just go for it. There's no reason to find yourself a lose condition because they're not going to faint from a Body Slam. And going for 2 Body Slams is more expensive than going for an extra Bulldoze. And you decide to go for a Body Slam.
Got scared because I haven't won a matchup in a while, so I freaked out.
And your opponent shields a Body Slam. And your opponent throws a charge move after shielding a Body Slam, knowing that you don't have enough energy for a Bulldoze. And then you shield a... Oh, Jesus.
Switch Clock. Switch Clock is back.
Wait, why did you swap? Why did you swap?
I didn't want him to throw something and take out my Mantine. So if I thought he was going to throw something, I was going to swap onto that.
You were going to bubble it down anyways.
Yeah. I was worried that he was going to knock me out and then he was going to have a Night Slash because he got 2 power
Well,
up.
if he bubbled you, if he threw another charge move, that means you mud shut down anyway. So what difference does that make?
Bro, he popped 2 attack rises off that Night Slash in game 1. I wasn't going to sit there and have him pop another attack up and counter my... Did you see how much health I had left on that Galarian Stunfisk? It was deep in the red. If he hit a counter, I was dead. If he popped off, I was dead. I know. That's my mentality. See? He hits me with the gunk shot. I'm down in the deep yellow.
I don't know why he's throwing a gunk shot anyways. Notice how one is 0.8 DPE with a chance to boost and the other one is 0.78? One move is clearly better than the other.
I like cross.
Big brain moves right there. And throwing a gunk shot costs more than 2 Night Slashes, so that's his mistake. But we're not going to focus on his mistake. We're going to focus on yours.
Swaps, yeah.
You have plenty of HP to not only survive plenty of counters, forcing him to throw a charge move. So imagine if he threw a charge move right here. Imagine he threw it and you did not swap. He throws it on your man time. You come in and you bubble it down anyways. Or I mean, you come in with Glare and Stunfisk and you mudshot it down anyways, right? Imagine if your Glare and Stunfisk was even lower. He counters down your Glare and Stunfisk and then Night Slashes your man time because you gave him the energy.
Yeah.
So you're finding lose conditions. That's what you're constantly doing.
Stop finding lose conditions.
So final game.
Please
don't stay. Just insta swap. He has 2 flyers, 5 total Pokemon that take super effective damage from this Glare and Stunfisk. It should be anywhere other than this Abomasnow. Anywhere other than this Abomasnow. I mean not Abomasnow. Obstagoon.
Obstagoon. Yeah. I poorly played this. I went with the lose condition. This is when I was like, okay, I'll just lose the guy, but not remembering that he's got 2 flyers and that Altaria.
Remember, like I said, when you have 2 counters in the back, switching is usually the right play. Yeah, that would have been even more relevant there because you were in the lead. And remember how I said 2 shields Vigoroth can win anything? You used up a shield and now you can't win switch advantage either.
I did not know 2 shield Vigoroth can beat anything at that point. I know now at this point in time. Hence the practice.
Well, there's a reason why people say safe swap Vigoroth always. Always.
Unless it's into a Mantine and I don't throw the...
You know, if you had an extra shield here, look, just look at how much HP both of your Pokemon have.
I see.
Look at all of those orange bars chipping away. If you had an extra shield here, you would have definitely countered it down before Dragon Breath you down, which is very counterintuitive. But you... Oh, what the hell is he doing? Oh, boy. And your opponent just found a lose condition. Oh my god, you just found yourself a lose condition by swapping into Glare and Stunfisk, and he's like, hey, you swapped, I'm gonna swap. When I would have had my Obstagoon paired with your Mantine, let me find a lose condition. Oh my god, you swap into one thing that's already dead and useless when you could have farmed down with the with the other thing. Which means you would be 1 bubble ahead to getting to an Ice Beam, which means you'd be taking much less damage from the Charms, which is chunking away a ton. And 1 Ice Beam isn't gonna knock out anyways, so you might as well have thrown a Bubble Beam first. Great mother of God. This isn't supposed to KO. Unless it's a play rough. Well, it doesn't KO, but yeah. Like, imagine if that was a Bubble Beam first. Oh my god. Oh my god, that final game. Yeah, I think no level of analysis will can help you. Just kidding. Okay, first thing, like I said, Galarian Stunfisk is 5,000 better matchups than against this Obstagoon. He has 5 Pokemon versus 1 Pokemon that can actually destroy your Galarian Stunfisk. Get the hell out of there. I don't care if you safe swap into something that's still bad against this Obstagoon. Galarian Stunfisk is 10 times more useful anywhere else. Your other Pokemon are expendable. This Galarian Stunfisk is not. Second thing, you have 2 counters in the back, which means they are even twice as expendable than if you only had 1 Pokemon to swap into. Third, why are you going for Rock Slide instead of trying to at least go for an Earthquake? You're gonna bait, or you're trying to win that matchup, at least do it properly. Third, swap into match. Okay, sure, you finally swapped, but like, you swapped so late and you spent a shield, there's no way you win this matchup, so safe swapping Vigoroth is not safe swapped at all. There's really not much you can do in this matchup, you just keep body slamming. I don't understand why your opponent did not want switch advantage. Although shield actually makes some sense here, but your opponent just threw the just threw the Sky Attack. Okay, that makes sense. Body slam. Also, note one thing. Your opponent threw a Sky Attack here, right? You have 1 body slam worth of energy. You're generating energy faster than a Dragon Breath is. Your body slam is cheaper than a Sky Attack is. You just got 30 extra energy. Your opponent is still at 25 energy, halfway to Sky Attack. You did not need to throw that early. Now you throw the body slam, that's fine. You throw it into whatever you want. Trying to pull a shield anyways. And then here, you could have just came in after because your Vigoroth is dead, has no energy, has no HP. Why swap out? Remember the first time when we swapped out of Galarian Stunfisk was because you had a lot of HP. When you had a lot of HP, then you can get the charge moves, then you can realign matchups, then you can win matchups that are even with HP down. For example, a half HP Galarian Stunfisk can win an Altaria, can win a Skarmory. What is a 5 HP Vigoroth gonna do?
Shield? Sack swap?
No. I'll show you exactly what your 5 HP Vigoroth does.
Give him an extra bump so he can get that play rough. Well, I counted all I needed was a freaking...
Your 5 HP Vigoroth did 5 damage.
Okay.
And then died. A bubble would have done 5 damage. Anything would have done 5 damage. So your Vigoroth did absolutely nothing that anything else could have done. So instead of swapping into Galarian Stunfisk, let's look at the possibilities.
I let Vig die.
Let Vig charm down. One or 2 charms tops. 2 charms tops. You come into this thing. You're generating energy twice as fast. You get to an Earthquake. You deal 70% of its HP, and you get to the Earthquake because charms are resisted. Counters are super effective. If he swaps into Obstagoon, you can swap into Mantine. It resists counter. Instead, you were like, okay, he throws his charge move, sure, he wasted energy. But this is like the 5th mistake, back to back. You're like, hey, instead of, okay, Obstagoon just threw energy. He's back to 0 energy. Like, there's no way he gets to another Night Slash. Even if he does, Night Slash deals less damage than a Play Rough would, and an Ice Beam would. And look at his HP. That's like 3 bubbles tops. And the more bubbles you throw, even better. You get to throw a charge move even faster. Instead, you're like, okay, instead of I'm farming with Mantine, you're like, hey, let's let him farm my Vigoroth. Because that charm's going to make a difference. This charm right here is going to put him in a position wait for it.
I could have gotten that bubble beam off first, then hit that ice beam.
No, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Literally, you are one bubble away. Remember what I said where you could have got that bubble from? You could have got that bubble right here. Right here. 3 bubbles, actually. So you could have actually gone double ice beam at that point. But you gave him extra energy while losing your own energy. So, like, there's such a clusterfuck of mistakes right here. So, that this is the last battle we have, but altogether, the mistakes that you made today, the most common mistakes is 1, half committing. Whenever you have a losing matchup, just lose. There's no reason for you to spend extra shields, spend extra energy, spend extra anything else. If you're gonna lose, just lose. Unless you really want to pull shields before you swap out, but there's a lot of times where you shield and your opponent still doesn't need to shield. For example, Pelipper against Altaria, your opponent's never going to shield a Weather Ball. And even if you do one shield, that Sky Attack, they're still going to get the second one because you haven't thrown in Hurricane. If you actually look at the Pelipper matchup, Altaria actually doesn't care at all if you shield once. Where is it? Take the Hurricane. Altaria IVs should definitely be better. Everyone has a good one. Yeah, Altaria gets to 2 Sky Attacks by the time you get to a Hurricane and a Weather Ball, I believe. Right, how the hell is this working? Wing Attack. Right, here's the Hurricane. So they can take a Hurricane. Wait a minute. Don't shield the Weather Ball. Hurricane does 70 damage. And that's assuming that it doesn't get an extra Dragon Breath in between. Weather Ball 24. Wait a minute. Alright, this is slightly confusing. Weird. Pretty sure I've lost even though I shielded once, but that's not the point. The point is, you shield and you lose anyways, right? Why shield? Don't half commit. Second thing is when you throw charge moves, the second thing was that even the opponent made these mistakes a lot. If you have a swap into their swap, just swap it. There's no reason for you to waste energy in a matchup that you're going to win anyways. So Pokemon A against Pokemon A, you win. Pokemon B against Pokemon B, you win just as hard. Why spend the energy on Pokemon A on Pokemon B when you were already going to win that? Because what happens is when they come back into Pokemon A, they have the energy they farmed up, but you wasted the energy that you farmed up. So now they have an energy lead. It went from an even matchup to giving your opponent an energy lead, because what might even happen is in matchup B, their Pokemon comes back in, their Pokemon A comes back in, and they farm up your Pokemon B if it's low enough. Or they spend a shield. And that puts them in even bigger position to win matchup A, even if it was a bad matchup for them. Make sense?
Yeah.
So don't waste energy if you don't need to. If you have a good swap, just swap. Don't spend energy in a matchup that doesn't need it. The third thing to this equation is essentially if it is a close matchup. If there is a tricky matchup that requires some type of energy advantage or HP advantage or shield advantage that you cannot win without a proper safe swap because you don't have a direct counter to it. For example, if your opponent swaps into a Vigoroth and your best answer is a Vigoroth, throw your Rock Slide on it first. If you had a Galarian Stunfisk in the lead against a Skarmory, and they swap out on the Vigoroth, and you had a little bit of energy before they swap out, throw your Rock Slide first. Get that shield, get that HP, get whatever it is, and then you can swap into your Vigoroth. That's one of the very few situations that you do want to throw energy into the next matchup because it's tricky, because it's not a hard win. Same thing with if they swap into Alolan Marowak and your best swap is into Vigoroth. You know a Bulldoze does around 50-60% damage, but your Body Slams won't be able to do that. So put whatever damage, if you had a Ferrothorn that they swapped their Alolan Marowak into, throw your Power Whip, throw a Thunder if you have the energy, because that's what you need. You need to kind of mix and match a little bit, but if they can play out like simulations, play them out like simulations. Don't overcomplicate things. And then the other thing is, I guess on the plus side, we've talked about the switching when you when it's, I guess for some people when it's undesirable still. Switching is a good idea in situations like this because what happens is you get to realign. Imagine, because if you think about it this way, you have already won switch advantage, right? By winning the lead. If you've already won switch advantage, then what's wrong with swapping again? You have Pokemon advantage. You've switched, like you've already secured some type of advantage, where it doesn't really matter. That switch advantage is still there even though you swap. It's just, think of it as a long-term switch advantage down the line, because you get to realign Galarian Stunfisk with something better. Because a lot of times people do end up losing because they get farmed down. In this particular matchup, it doesn't really matter too much because Galarian Stunfisk, what Galarian Stunfisk could have done for Alolan Marowak, Mantine could have done is just as well. But that's not the point. The point is, it's the type of mindset you need to get into. If there are better options, always think about what type of options you have, because Pokemon Go is a very straightforward game. You have Switch, you have Charge Attack, you have Fast Attacks. You literally have three options. You tap the screen, you tap your charge move, you swap. That's it. Think about those three things at all times. What is the better option? At all points, ask yourself, can I switch? Should I switch? At all points, ask yourself, should I be farming or should I not be farming? Ask yourself at all times, should I throw a charge move now? Should I throw a charge move later? Should I be baiting? Should I be throwing the right charge move? Should I be looking for a charge move on the next opponent? What stuff like that. It's a very simple game with it's a matter of what you're asking yourself at what points in the game. And then what else? Picking teams, picking lines. The one of the things you keep doing is picking Pelipper, even though it's a very, very bad Pokemon to bring into a lot of these teams.
I was going with the formula, but yeah.
Don't Toshi strat. Toshi strats are I will say this again and I will say this on stream. Toshi strats are for scrubs against scrubs. People who know how to respond accordingly will think creatively, adapt creatively. If there's a formula, then everybody would be following it. If there's a formula, then there would be no skill in this game. Everyone just go, let's have Ninetales in the lead and swap into Kingdra. No, that's how you lose. That's how you lose, when somebody actually knows how to use their brain, knows how to effectively think about what you have in the line. The reason why I beat Caleb Peng on stream 3-0 was because I from beginning to end, I literally said, I know exactly what I'm going to do when I see this lead. I know exactly which side Pokemon are on. Like I said, open your Switch menu, know exactly what Pokemon they are on. If you forget, because sometimes in Silph, you rearrange your lines, you have different lines. In GBO, you have the same line. You should know what side what is on. But you need to be able to adapt and think and go like, okay, if I see this, because you've decided I want to lead Mantine, right? For this particular game, I want to lead Mantine. What will I swap into? They have 6 Pokemon. They have 6 choices. If I see Altaria, I can stay in. If I see Mantine, I can stay in. If I see Obstagoon, I can stay in. If I see Abomasnow, I can potentially bait. If I want to swap, what will I swap into? If I see Wigglytuff, what would I want to swap into? You can make these choices ahead of time. It's what happens in the second or the third matchup that you have to think on the spot. But at the very beginning of the game, you can already decide everything you want to do.
Yeah.
So do that for yourself. Ask yourself questions. You can even write down questions as you play through these matchups. You don't have to rush into them. That's the beauty of these online tournaments. They don't have to be in person. They don't have to be rushed. They usually tell you have 12 hours, you have 2 hours, you have, I don't know. Like, that's the one positive thing about these online tournaments. You can take your time. Although they tell you don't do simulations, and I don't need to because I already know the matchups. Like, but the thing is, you can write down on pieces of paper, go like, okay, I think this is at least a decent matchup. For example, Mantine against Altaria, some people might go like, oh, maybe I'm dealing Bubble and it's not super effective, but I have Ice Beam, but it's double super effective. You're like, then maybe that's a okay matchup. It's not a hard win, maybe it's not a hard loss either. Like you're able to take the time to think about these things, right? If you're in an in-person tournament, you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes to play that full set. Like, you're not going to have time to even think half the time. People locked in right in front of you and they're staring at you, go like, are you ready yet? They don't do that here. So take your time. You see your opponent, start writing down all the teams, start writing lines between all of these teams, go like, okay, this Pokemon, I have this many matchups, you know. Don't rush. You can systematically think about how you want to adapt to each opponent. It doesn't have to have a strategy. It doesn't have to follow some type of formula. That's how you want to move on into like a higher level. You don't want to be stuck with one type of mindset. That's why you're always asking yourself questions. If you're using a formula, you're not asking yourself questions. You're not being flexible. You're not being creative. And it's all about, you know, being flexible. Even with simulations, add minus an extra fast attack, add minus a couple HP, add minus a couple shields. There's ways around things.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Like, obviously you want to look at a team of 6 and be able to break down what your team has, and I usually have notes for that. It's better to be prepared, right?
Yeah. Like, literally one of the easiest, let me see if I can find it, but actually, let me check if I have it on my Patreon post. Actually, let me hop onto my Patreon for a second. Why, hello there, everyone. You can see my Patreon.
Hey, it's his Patreon. Look at everybody.
Let's see, Forest Cup. I think it was in Silph.
You looking for him?
There was one of the posts where I made a very straightforward way to break down teams.
What?
One sec.
Yeah.
No, apparently not. Maybe not. But essentially what I do is, actually, let's go to your, okay. I'm just gonna go pull up one of my tournaments. So what I'm gonna do, so actually, let me do this very simple thing. Let's see, pull this. Save this as an image. And then let's throw this window capture as
Jesus, someone's already challenger.
capture as paint. Come on.
Took 1 week and people are already challengers.
Let
This
me block this.
new ranking system is kind of hogwash. No offense to Silph.
So
Dang, baby quick draw, top 25 in the world.
So you see Microsoft Paint on the fucking screen right now.
Yeah, I see it.
So this is what I do with teams. One on the bottom, one on the top. Probably doesn't need to be that far apart. This is the most scrub way you can do anything. Very simple.
Is this the Hero of Ainge thing where you point arrows to who B2 and all that stuff?
I don't know if he started it or whatnot, but I've been doing this
No, I
since
know-
the
I know
very
what you're
beginning.
talking about. Yeah,
So-
I know about that. I know how to
Yeah,
do that.
like literally just that's literally all you have to do with every single Pokemon on your team.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is a poor representation.
Wait, what the hell team is this? Like everything this person has loses. What the hell? Holy crap, this person's team is so bad.
Is it some regionals or qualifier?
I think this is Voyager.
Voyager? Oh yeah, knockout.
Holy crap, this person's team's so bad. No offense to whoever this is and whoever I pulled it off of. Nice. Togekiss beats one thing. Fantastic.
Nice. Never Togekiss.
Oh, looks like they hate Noctowl. Like, a lot. That's about it. Yeah, like, it's very simple. Look at every single Pokemon, line them up, and then on top of that, after you've done that, write down numbers. How many positive matchup they have. 1, 3, 1, 3, 2. There, you know what Pokemon does the best. You know Registeel does good, Raichu does good. Focus on those Pokemon. Easy. Easy clap. Like, you don't have to, like, and then if you want, you pair these two together and you go like, okay, I want Reggie, I want Raichu. Let's see if there's any Pokemon that beat both of these together. Maybe I'll cover it for it that way. Or maybe I'll just pick one Pokemon that I like more than the other, and then I'll cover for Registeel. Like, it's very systematic. Easy. Like, doesn't have to be overcomplicated, doesn't have to be other stuff. Like, Silph tournaments are harder than GBL because you have to think about this, but it's also very simple. It's just nobody does it properly. Like, you don't have to, go like, pray to God I have a good lead. Oh my God, like, there's same thing in GBL. There's safe swaps. Same thing in GBL. There's shield scenarios. Same thing in whatever. As long as your team is built a certain way, meant to respond to different teams, different ways, different matchups, different ways, different shield scenarios, different ways, then you're able to actually have a flexible game. You're able to respond. The same reason why I don't use Togekiss. Same reason I don't use razor leaf users, because in all 3 shield scenarios, it's usually the same outcome. That's why I don't use freaking Wigglytuff over there. All 3 shield scenarios, exact same outcome, no matter what you do. So, I don't know what I was talking about, but yeah. Don't click a game until you figure out what team you want and how your team is actually good against. And don't swap into the wrong thing, I swear to God. If you swap into another Ferrothorn into a Marowak, Jesus Christ. God bless yourself.
I stopped tapping. I was so done with my own life. I was like, I can't effing believe this, and I'm going to have to put this on stream with Wild Season Boy. I should have just lost that video. Should have just cropped that out and been like, I don't know what happened to game 3, man. I guess it's, but yeah. Obviously. Thanks for the coaching, man. This was helpful.
Any other questions? Any other like things you want to learn or know? Well, if you want to learn how to team build, can't really help much with that. I usually spend like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours at the beginning of every week that the first cup gets announced or whatnot. So if it gets announced in 2 weeks, whatever Monday or Wednesday that happens to be, I'll probably spend like 2 hours building a team, breaking down the line. So if you want to learn how to line or team build, that's when you would want to tune in. But in terms of actual gameplay, now would be the time to ask me.
No, I'm not looking for team build. I wasn't looking for gameplay. I was just, I can't really say much because that was just such a shit representation of how I battle. Like I can't even say anything good about it. No, I just it was good with the energy stuff and like talking to me about how I'm just half-assing it, like either go for it or don't, like either lose it or don't lose it. Just kind of small things like that where you see I'm flustered at, where I'm like, don't know what to do during the matchup, not because I don't know the Pokemon, but just because I'm just flustered at the time and I'm just either happening, like throwing the energy and then using a shield and then dipping for some reason. So yeah. That was super helpful with that kind of stuff. Telling me either just go for it or don't, and then showing me the breakdown of why either going for it or don't going for it is much better than just doing what I'm doing. And instead of hurting myself on one mont, or I'm hurting myself on 2 situation, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that was really nice and helpful. Yeah. I usually have my notebooks. You can ask Shiny Hunter Burn. He got mad at me in Portland when I had my notebook. I usually have 6 mons ready to go. I write my 6 mons, and under the 6 mons, I'll write on the left side which ones they are plus 600 on PV poke and over. In the middle, it fluctuates between 600 and 400.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Very, very simple.
I know what you're gonna say about baiting, right? And
no, it's not even baiting. These numbers don't tell you anything. That's plus 600 across the board. If you're one mud shot, or if you're one wing attack down, whether it's desync, whether it's piggyback, whether it's whatever the hell it is this game does inconsistently, this 600 can potentially flip to 300-400 because of that.
Right.
That those numbers don't tell you jack shit.
That's where I usually range. So when I get the mids, I usually think, okay, these are my hard hitters. I don't look at it and go, I'm gonna stick to it. I go, these are my hard hitters for these mons. So when I do that, so you know how you just did your breakdown with paint?
Yep.
And I see a team with all of those numbers put down. I see who's got the better advantages and go, okay, this Pokemon that they have is really good on my team. I need to find out what its counters are. And I look at the mons that have it at the hard hitting and in the middle hitting. And then I go, okay, how can I fluctuate that? Going with my other teams. And then I pair it up with the rest of my teams. So sometimes a soft win, I'll flip it to a harder win on something that's in the middle of it. Crap. So for instance, because you say you hate you hate the razor leaf users, but I love them as swap-ins. And I know, this is just my tactic, and it's the tactic that I play. But for instance, we'll go to Rose Cup, having Ice Fang Drapion, swapping that in on the Noctowl or the Golbat right off the bat to chunk down those last few health as they were trying to farm down my Wigglytuff, was a way that I was able to take some of the softer wins into harder wins, building my energy up on my Drapion for further advantages. You know what I'm saying? So when I have my in the middle section of mons that are in the middle, I go, who can I pair up the in the middle that I can get harder advantages on later mons down the line? So for instance, if I had a Vigoroth on that Registeel, right, I can swap it in a safe swap, knowing that I can build up energy to get it on the Registeel or whatever. Not Registeel. Galarian Stunfisk.
But the issue with charm users and razor leafers, I say that because if, for example, we'll talk about just an open meta because it's just the easiest to explain. Because every single cup there's some form of wall against something else. The more linear is what I call it. The more linear a Pokemon is, meaning that they do one roll and nothing else, because they only have grass type damage, or they only have poison type damage, or they only have fighting type damage, or they only have a certain type of damage, which means that there is some form of typing that will resist everything that they do. So if you come in with a Razor Leafer and they come in with a Skarmory, then whatever advantage you wanted to farm back up with that against that Skarmory is negligible. Whatever you come into a Charmer, they come in with a Alolan Marowak. They farm. They have a Shadow Ball and a half ready. Into the next Pokemon you come back in, you don't care. Like, you come back in with an Azumarill, you still get a Shadow Ball to the face. It still does 40%. You can farm it down, sure, but at what cost? My mindset is that I can manipulate certain shield scenarios, as well as just the Pokemon, as well as the HP. I'm manipulating as many variables as I can, and when you are choosing a Pokemon that only does one thing, then you're manipulating only the type of Pokemon it pairs up against.
Yeah.
So that's why anybody who hops onto my stream and they're like, why do you not like what do you call it, charm users? Why do you not like Razor Leafers? Why do you think Grasshole is brain dead? Because you win hard or you lose hard. That's it. You don't manipulate shield scenarios. Shield scenarios don't matter at all. That's literally the epitome of Grasshole. It's the epitome of Pokemon that only rely on fast moves. It's the epitome of not using any of the other mechanics that are designed in the game. Totally didn't mean to shit on you there, but you asked the question, had to answer it.
I didn't want you to focus more on Razor Leafers and Charmers. I was talking more along the lines of like Ice Fang, Dragon Breathers, where you're farming down to build that extra energy up. So that soft loss becomes that 300 win.
Oh, Dragon Breath is nothing close to those. Dragon Breath has 3 energy per turn.
I'm talking about a situation where you can use that, right? Where you were saying on the Obstagoon, I could have brought in the Mantine, right? And bubbled it down, had the bubble for 2 Ice Beams. This situation right here, you could run this video right here, right? When I build on my soft wind, hard wind, this is the mentality I actually think. I should have put in the Mantine to just bubble this thing down to get the extra bubbles. Absolutely right. That's how I usually play. I thought he was going to throw for some reason, and I don't know what the hell. Like,
then you need to get better at counting.
You need to get better at counting. That's the one thing I got to do. That's for sure I got to do.
I don't count at all, and I'm still able to tell. Because Here's another tip.
Okay.
You don't need to count when you know relative energy. For example, we have Mantine versus Obstagoon, right? Bubble versus Counter. Which one generates more energy?
Bubble gets it.
Bubble gets it by like a tiny bit. Counter is 3.5. Bubble is 3.66. Night Slash is 35. Bubble Beam is 40. Gunk Shot is 75. Bubble Beam is 55. So if you were both to just go for your best charge moves, you'd hit Ice Beam before he gets to 2 Night Slashes. If you were to both go for your slowest energy charge moves over and over again, Bubble Beam versus Night Slash, you would get it at approximately the same time because Night Slash costs a little less, but Counter generates a little less energy as well. That should be the mindset you should be going into. If you're not familiar with counting, that's how you should be kind of, what do you call it? Using relative energy to measure. Same thing with Mantine versus Skarmory. If you were to straight Bubble Beam, obviously you would make it way before they do. Sky Attack 45 energy, Ice Beam is 55. Air Slash 3 energies per turn, Bubble 3.66. You should be able to get to it at the same time, if not faster. And right now, it shows that it's 5 bubbles to Ice Beam every time, 5 Air Slashes to a Sky Attack every time. And that's relative energy. That's why I never need to count. If you know the fast moves and you know the charge moves, which you've played this game long enough to be familiar with most of the major ones, you should be able to do this without needing to count.
Which I can do. This was just a poor fucking tournament. Ugh, I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely. Knowing the relative, knowing that fucking Gunshot does 65 to my 120 Mantine. Obstagoon sits with 113 or whatever, 130.
Yes, that's a 1438 CP Wiggly. And it still beat him.
Still beat me. I couldn't believe it. Dude, you don't even... What is it? Yeah, it's 14. I couldn't believe it. One bubble. And I sat there too, dude. I sat there, I was like, I didn't bring in Mantine to take out the goddamn Obstagoon. Why didn't I do that? I was so mad at myself. I mean, besides the fact that the Ferrothorn Marowak, I mean, yeah.
All right,
oh, you're right.
Let's take a quick look at chat. Totally missed a bit.
Yeah, they're all wondering what I was talking about, and yeah, no, this was good for rookies to learn, guys. If you're new to GBL, this was a great, or new to the Silph and battling, this was a great learning for everybody.
Standy Pokemon, funny looking Hollow Knight. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with the game. I can't beat the Pantheon of the Gods, so I'm gonna leave the game at that. How's it going? Hope you're doing good. And someone in chat can explain what's going on here. Pokemon Go Tournament Battle Review. Yeah. So this is SosaFlo, part of Team Rocket PvP. He did an early Sunrise Cup tournament. Went 2-4. Just went over all of his battles. The first round was actually a bye, so we looked at 5 rounds. I'm gonna be downloading the stream and throwing it onto YouTube afterwards, so that'll happen. But I don't actually YouTube, so don't ask me about that. Thank you for the following this, feeling this one. Hey, it's the dude that beat you in the previous round.
Which one?
Feeling this one.
Oh, was he there? Dude,
Yeah,
hey! I can't tell you. It's hard to see the writing on the...
So Max, are you actually going? I don't know. But anyways, well, that's it for today, essentially. I don't know, 2.5 hours, almost 4. I mean, almost 3 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this off of Twitch, throw it onto YouTube. This VOD should stay on Twitch for long enough for people to kind of check out for the next little bit. Yeah, this has been SosaFlo's Sunrise Cup review. If anyone does a tournament, practice, ranked, whatever cup next month early on, feel free to message me. Apparently not enough people do because they're scared of me. But yeah, please do so if you really want some assistance.
You're savage, bro.
I'm more than happy to help. And because every single person's different, it's easier for me to kind of, give feedback specific to your play. Just give feedback specifically to how you're thinking and your mentality, which is actually not the easiest thing to do, but I'm working on it. I actually kind of like this layout as well. I put it together yesterday. Probably will stick with this. But yeah, go give SosaFlo Team Rocket PvP a follow. !student in chat will give you his links. I'm also on Twitter. That's where you will find me trolling Niantic and the community and updates for whatever I'm doing usually. Hi Rizachi. And yeah, Wednesday, probably going back to Master League. Lots of fun. Very happy I didn't do Ultra League for like a week and a half. I love not GBLing. Yeah. Pretty sure I'm pretty close to like 26, 2800, somewhere like that. I'm still ranked 8, but we'll find out on Wednesday probably. And then Friday, the usual non-Pokemon Go stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't know what else to say. That about wraps it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna find somebody to raid. Pull up Twitch for a sec. Let's see who else is online. I see a Panic, JBL, I see Super Science.
Panic.
I see Purple Kyogre.
There's
There's nobody doing non-GBL stuff, is there?
Open Masters, Butters is coaching, GBL Masters, every GBL trolling.
Yo, there's 1,000 viewers, damn. Yo, Angel Rage, what's up? Thank you, FLCs, for hanging out. Gundam, thank you for hanging out. Hope you guys learned something. Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody's doing GBL.
Shiny Hunting, Road to 5,000 followers. Viewer rating and vibing. Yeah, there's no Silph people.
That's usually us.
Sunrise? Yeah, it's just me. God damn it. Alright, I guess we'll rate the least-ish viewers.
Jamel London runs a London community train out here. 9 years old.
Let's rate Ingress. Wait, no, he's not battling.
3, 2, 1, 1.
Yo, Disney Gamer? Oh shit. Yo, I'm gonna rate Disney Gamer. Oh yeah. Disney Gamer's cool. He doesn't stream much. But everybody knows him as Mystic 7's editor, and he does a lot of emotes and other stuff for other people back in the day, but now he's busy. He is a child. Go hang out, go say hello. If you have my emotes, spam them, I guess. A little gibbles and whatnot, and Deoxys highs. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope you all enjoyed the stream, learned something. That's most important. The only reason why I do these streams, so people can learn something. Yeah. I have Patreon, although I am pretty bad at keeping up with it. I am currently working on the Community Day post on Charizard, so there's that. I will have that on like next day for those who are following me on Patreon. And yeah, like I said, follow me on Twitter. That's where I post all my updates and stuff. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.